everyone, this is Malika and Audrey and welcome back to another episode of Let's Unwind.
This is the 7th episode?
It is.
Yeah, so this is the 7th episode of the 2nd season and we're only just a few episodes
down.
away from
Yeah, I
the
know.
close.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. How do you feel?
I feel great. I've had so much fun filming each one of them.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so much love in return. They're just so grateful.
Yeah, the different guests and everything, I think this is something I've said like consistently.
Yeah.
We've gained so much valuable knowledge from every one of our guests that has appeared. And today we also have another guest.
Yes, it is season 2, 7. I have high and big hopes and dreams, you guys. This is episode 7, and we have uncovered so many different industries: theater, finance, development.
Yeah, we have a traveling agency. Everything.
Too much, like my brains are working. But today we have something special, something which is very close to both of our hearts: fashion. I mean, who doesn't love fashion?
I mean, London's Fashion Week was just what, a week ago?
Two weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
So yes, today we have someone who's very, very, very special. I met this lady, this woman, this girl 3-4 months ago at a networking event. Another networking event, that is correct.
She goes to so many networking events.
I love networking events. They are a great place to meet people.
I know. Learn from her, girls. Or guys. Learn from her.
But let's introduce our guest for this episode, you guys. She's Assil. She is the owner, the founder, the CEO of this beautiful women's wear brand called Moustadaam. Someone who's been in fashion for 10 plus years, tried multiple things, have had so many ups and downs in her life, and is still battling through and succeeding. Was at London Fashion Week 2 weeks ago, which is exciting. I have modeled for her, which is lovely because I met her at the event.
I know. And I've seen her clothes on your reels. It's amazing.
Audrey, those pants, I swear to God, they're the most comfortable piece of pants I've ever worn. I swear. I love the pants. Anyway, without further ado, please welcome Assil to Let's Unwind.
Hello.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. It feels so real. How do you feel, Assil?
To your point, the collection is your name.
Actually, I forgot
That's
to mention.
such a good point.
I actually forgot to mention.
Yeah.
The collection is called the Malika collection.
Oh my god. Was that a coincidence? Or?
It was a coincidence. I mean, yeah.
Wow. And of course you must have gotten Malika to model for you.
I was so happy. I'm like, oh my god, I could be like, it's my collection.
Yeah.
It's your fashion dream is
My
coming
fashion
true.
dream is coming true.
So Malika means queen in Arabic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, and when we met, it kind of like took me a few weeks to realize,
Oh.
like, wait, the girl's called Malika.
Yeah.
My collection's called Malika. I have to get this girl to model.
Oh.
That's how it happened. It's funny how you meet people and you, like, I never would have thought, like, I'll be on your podcast. Like,
No.
it's so random.
What happens in mysterious ways? I think we spoke for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, and you were going out, and I was just coming in. And we just talked about just having our own company because I was about to quit my job to start something.
And you were like moving to Dubai. So like,
yeah.
she's doing staying.
I know.
Yeah, and she's like, it's so difficult, but it's the best thing you'd ever do.
Absolutely.
And that's literally how I've known her.
And then like our little tube like conversation when we were on the way, it just kind of like started everything off.
And then I'm like, I need to have her on the podcast because
You
she
inspired
has so
me
much
and
to
I
say.
inspired you.
Literally, she has so much, and I'm like, the world needs to hear her story. And that's why I'm like, I'm very, very happy that you're here today.
Thank you. So am I. I'm so excited.
Just a little, like, you know, I've just met you for I think the past half an hour, and even I've heard a bit of your story, and I think it's really inspirational.
It's really important to meet people in the same sort of like mindset and empower, like whether it's a woman or a man. Sometimes you might be like stuck in your own way, and it takes one conversation that will change everything.
It truly does.
And that's how it has happened to me, like throughout.
Exactly.
Because I remember I met her, and then I just literally told her I want to start my own company. And she knew I was going to leave the country, and she knows that maybe we would never meet again. But she spent those 10 minutes just talking to me about what she thought she could have known before.
Wow.
And she just gave me advice those 10 minutes. And said,
Yeah, and some girls literally say to me like, so you actually want to like help me? I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Like there's so much like amazing feelings when you like leave that person knowing you gave something.
Yeah.
I have friends who are like 10 years younger than me, and I have friends who are like 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I give to the younger, and even the younger gives me, and vice versa to the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, it's been an inspirational story that you have, right? And I think I mean, like what you talked about, you know, sharing advice, giving advice, and sharing like visions and motivations to like people to help them. You know, this is what this podcast aims to do as well, and we're very happy to have.
And this
you
is
here.
actually the reason why I wanted to be a part. Like anything that will be able to give.
Yeah.
And I love the concept of like just a normal chat, and you know, you can give and take. Love
Yeah, we want it to be, you know, like with all our guests, we want it to be a genuine feeling. We want it to have a genuine conversation because at the end of the day, you know, these are genuine thoughts, right? Genuine stories, right? We want our audience to know that, you know, people like you and I, people whom they probably might never meet in their lifetime, do share the same feelings and do share the same struggles in one way or another.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. Like sometimes you'll be skipping on Instagram and like some random guy will he'll say one thing and you're like, oh my god, I totally get it. So like I love these podcasts for that reason, simply because you might be lost in the moment or in life or in a chapter,
Yeah.
and your question might be answered without you even asking it. Skipping through.
And true. And then somebody might even like look at your Instagram and your brand and be like, that is so good. Like she's like living such a glamorous life, like having all these beautiful clothes that she's marketing. But nobody really knows the struggles behind having that brand on Instagram and like launching it in real life.
Absolutely. So last week after the burnout, I put a story and I started to share the things that are not pretty to put on a story. And I started to like write things to say, I'm gonna be posting more of this content because I want to show you guys like you said, you might flick through a page and see a brand and be like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I want to do
Look
it.
at her reel. She's talking about her and how to be an empowerment.
Yeah.
But do you know what's going on with her? You don't. Do you know what has been happening in the last 15 years to now? Absolutely not. So I think Instagram has been about the perfection. And now, like people like us who are having these conversations, creating podcasts or content or reels, it's all about like showing. There needs to be no space for insecurity because it takes that one picture where you've edited and glammed and everything to make that audience feel extremely insecure.
Yeah.
And I want to show, even though the clothes are beautiful and even though the clothes have a journey, but the person behind bringing these clothes is to make you feel good, not just wearing the clothes but in a mindset way. And that's why I came on this podcast, and I'd love to be a guest for like more and more podcasts because I think that's really important to share. We see pictures in magazines and we see pictures edited and airbrushed and none of it is real.
Exactly. I think that's, I mean, but going back, right? Let's backtrack so our audience can understand also, like, you know, your journey and like where you've come from. You know, so why don't you tell us a little bit of like your journey into the fashion scene, the fashion industry, and how did you end up with the brand that you have today? What was that like?
So I think, unfortunately, like talking generally about fashion schools, not every single one of them like puts you on the right track when you finish.
Right.
So that's where the difficulties began. It was super challenging. It was general fashion university, nothing fancy, and that's the difference between them and like another like very popular one, like let's say like in London. So when you're let go, you're really lost. I grew up in Wales for almost 16 years. So I went to Portsmouth to do my university degree, and I knew London is the place. Where do I go to London and like where do I begin? And how do I do it on my own? And the financial things, the homesick things, you know? And I'm Muslim, so it was already challenging as it is to leave home and go to university. Now I gotta finish university and go to a big city and do what I gotta do. So that's where really the challenges were. And then I did move to London on my own, and I did like so many different like jobs that linked to selling a product that I could have one day. So the thing that worked, thank God, is I didn't just go to like Starbucks and coffee shops and you did, you know, the waitressing things. I actually wanted to connect with like fashion brands and being in the real like world, like let's say in like big department stores like Harrods and Selfridges, where you've got your potential client. The sad thing is, I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to go and start in like a Vogue magazine and be like the intern and the assistant. And unfortunately, because there were no connections, and I think that's when you blame universities that they let you go without any connections, I couldn't work my way. And it used to make me feel sad every day But then I thought, okay, well, if I'm not going to be able to go and be in the offices and in the magazines and such, let me at least be in the audience side, in the retail side. And then I just worked my way through in department stores and different brands, and I worked for like fashion houses and ended up in like the bigger brands. And it was about 6 to 7 years. I started a brand in 2017. Sadly, because of COVID, it was shut down. Things happen for a reason. I never had a really strong like USP for that brand. I was just like everybody else. I learned a lot. It was like manufacturing in different like countries and having the stock come to me. I would like design the textiles and have them printed on silks. But unfortunately, there was nothing so exciting to share and show that you're different. So then, when COVID happened, I was like, okay, I was in a relationship where I was so close to marriage. And that was like this close. And I was, like excited, like it's finally here, blah, blah, blah. And in that very short space, the relationship ended and I closed my business and I was just at home.
Oh,
and it was so difficult emotionally that it was like boom, boom, boom. Like
Everything's gone.
Yeah.
Emotionally dead. And you're on furlough. Like you don't even go to work to see your friends anymore. So all of it came. It was probably one of the hardest like chapters that I had to get through. And then one day I was like, okay, this girl doesn't give up. I'm gonna do something with this all free time that I have. Funnily enough, I wanted to start a podcast. I was like, where do I get the guests? We can't even do that. I had always loved like styling. And the way I dressed, I'd always pay attention. Like my friends and my family would always ask me like, oh, can you help me with this? Like whatever. So it's like, you know what? I know what to do. I'm gonna like look for something online where right now I'm not a designer. I'm not in these brands. I'm at home. I'm on furlough. So let's just find something that I can have fun with. And you know when you work so hard that you never have a minute? I had like minutes. So I was like, okay, I had minutes and hours and weeks.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to like break out this like depression, like heartbreaking feeling that I was going through. So I came across a styling diploma and I've met so many friends through that diploma. I met my best friend currently. I have met so many wonderful people, but unfortunately the course was terrible. So I ended up being like a stylist, qualified.
Yeah.
It was like a 6 weeks diploma that you did online.
Okay.
I had saved up some money and I was like, why not? And I learned, so many things that I have now learned and have the skills for dressing people through my products.
Right.
So again, I look back and I'm like, what a waste of time. Actually, it wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
What a waste of, you It wasn't.
In
Because you
retrospect,
learn the colors and you learn how to dress for your body shape, and all of that gives you the right skill when you're making a product, what kind of model to put it on, to present that to the world. So yeah, anyway, that was a great experience in the moment, I thought. And after it, I realized, again, it left me with absolutely nothing.
Oh.
So university didn't give me the right connections. The styling course did not give me the right connections. And sadly, I just worked recently with someone and it did not give me the right connections. And it has been so difficult, I swear. It has been so challenging. But I've recently quit my job. And I was like, you know what? This is what you want to do. Because in that period where I quit being a designer and I went off to be a stylist, I started to miss having products and having my own pieces.
Yeah.
So moving on from styling, which sometimes I learn. Sometimes if you're not sure about something, walk away from it. Like whether it's the guy or whether it's the career, just walk away. And I walked away for a while. I walked away for nearly 2 years of not being a designer. I became a personal stylist. I have to say, I love it. I would love to style you right now. I love it. But to actually have to go and be on set and pulling from brands, and it just didn't work out. So I was like, oh my god, this is it. So when you take time out, it will allow you to see if that decision is the right decision for you. Because when you're connected to it so on an everyday level, you kind of brainwash yourself sometimes. So I just didn't know. I couldn't figure out. So after that period, I was like, I was born to be a designer and I definitely want to do it. However, this time I want to do it with a meaning. And during those years, I was just brainwashed with the idea of sustainability, sustainable this, sustainable that. I didn't know what it meant, I swear to you. because I did my degree like
Yeah.
11 years ago now.
Wow.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
When we were making pieces and when we were like being taught how to design, nobody spoke about sustainability. Suddenly it's something that started to happen. Like even a few years ago when I did do the styling diploma,
Yeah.
it wasn't mentioned, but it was mentioned on Instagram. So I'd open articles and I'm like, what's this? I didn't know that they burn clothes and that ruins our environment, and fast fashion brands are making this worse every day.
Yeah.
So luckily in that period, when I did come across all of these articles, I wanted to dig deeper, and I was like, that's what I can do. I would always customize things in my wardrobe. If I had a blazer and it had like plain normal like grey buttons like on this, I'll just change it. I'll make it like gold, metallic.
Wow.
So I had always done that.
Yeah.
And before having that brand in 2017, I always customized pieces. I looked for competition and I didn't find much. So I was like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one thing. I'm not gonna tell anyone I'm doing this because it might just end up being a hobby, right?
Yeah.
You never know. I'm gonna customize things and I'm gonna wear them, and I'm just gonna go out for dinners. And I'm gonna go out here and there and I'm just gonna see what the girls say. I was like, okay, took that blazer, you know, deconstructed it, took off the sleeves, then put up a different sleeve. And I had this thing for fur and I loved fur.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna just get fur and I'm gonna like detach and attach and play around.
Yeah.
And I remember the first thing I ever made, I took, it's called the Bella dress now in my
Bella.
collection,
Oh,
but I cut that from a gown. And you'll notice one thing about the Manica collection, it's very small pieces.
Yeah.
It's not full length.
Mhm.
Only like when I got to the suit is when I had enough fabric to make trousers, the trousers that you love. And basically, I just wanted to practice doing it and see what happened. So I made the Bella. I obviously by then did have a name back then. The Bella dress. Then I think I made the set. And I
The
love
jumpers.
embellishment. I love the taste of fashion in the Middle East from my home country. I love Elisab. I love these kind of like embellished like pieces and glamorous things, and it's my personal style. So on that styling diploma that I was telling you about that I did, thinking I didn't learn anything, I learned to differentiate between style personalities. So I'll be able to tell you what you are, I can tell you what I am, I can tell you so many people's different personalities. So I started to apply that. One day I was in Selfridges, I met up with my friend and we were just going to like have drinks and she said meet me there. I went into, Selfridges has like a corner, it's called the corner.
I think
And they have like different pop-ups from time to time. And at that time they had Versace.
Oh.
And I always loved gowns from Versace, beautiful pieces from Versace. I had thing for like black when it comes to evening wear. And I swear to you, I'm not cussing any brands here, but the price point on that garment that I loved in the window that day was the reason that I made Moustadaam today. That is simply the reason why I made Moustadaam. Because I felt so sad that someone like me or someone else might look at that and be like, it's £5,000. I am not paying for that.
Oh my god.
But it was
Designer.
hand embellished. And that's what I loved about it. Just the hand embellishment. Like
Yeah.
I could have done it, she could have done it, that girl from that, design degree could have done it.
What's your price point then as compared to? Sorry if I'm interrupting.
No, it's okay.
Well, what's your price point?
So that example,
Yeah.
being in Selfridges, being in Harrods, being in all those brands, is the reason why I wanted my price points to be realistic.
Yeah.
So I'm in the hundreds to starting point of 1,000.
Okay.
But I will, the USP for the brand and the values of the brand,
Yeah.
one of them is just to make sure I don't go above that. I used to say this thing to my friends, and now that I'm here with the brand is, I just don't want to rip people off. I used to always say, I just don't want to rip people off. And they're like, girl, you have to make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but guys, like, we're not gonna times it by like 600%, are we? And they're like, okay, yeah, you have a point. So I wanted to
Okay.
keep that cost low.
Right.
I mean, listen, it's expensive what I did for the collection because of the time, the upcycling, finding the fabric.
Yeah.
Now having interns, which unfortunately I only have one left, but the time and effort to stay sustainable, to be able to get like your beads and make sure it works and you're trying to get everything together as a collection it's really not easy. So when I was working with someone, when it came to pricing, this person really wanted me to rip people off.
No, because in a business, right? Like in companies and businesses, it's all about how much you can make money.
Yes, but
weirdly, you just could not do it.
Weirdly, I just can't.
Yeah,
like you're being told times it by 600%, guys.
Yeah.
And you're like, listen, I just started. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Like, let me just be nice. So the idea is, you can start making money. You can have a nice profit. You can have all this like money coming through, and that's great. But that is the reason why I wanted to be different. It's simply because I've been in there, I've been in the luxury brands, I've been there for almost 6 years to 7 now, and I would say that's what I took from it. And someone, like, I think it's in like my description or something on my website, and it says, I took what was positive and I wanted to change what was negative.
Right.
Being in certain brands, being in one brand specifically, without having to mention, the price point was tripled in 1 year. Yeah. And being in these big massive houses, you totally get it. But as a designer, as a startup, as someone who is doing things with their love, we're not those people. Why are people going to come to you, and why are people going to go to Versace 5,000? If you really want the taste, if you really want the glam, if you really want to shop with a reason that works and helps the environment, why are you going to go and pick out that vibe?
And I think a lot more people now are shifting their mindset to support smaller designers, which are way more better in quality and sustain them.
And I think like with them, even though they don't make like the big amounts, but they're still making like 20 dresses.
Yeah.
You're gonna see a couple of people wearing that in the world, where I think when you go to someone who is more specific, who has value, who is like making it with love, and that sounds a bit general because everyone's like, oh, women making it with love, and I've seen that everywhere, but it's true. It's true. Like the way I wake up to my studio and I'm so excited to make that piece, that's very different to someone manufacturing 20 dresses in a manufacturer somewhere with just a very globally famous brand name. Very different. So it depends on you as a client.
I wore her bands, I remember, and I'm like, I can't stop talking about the bands.
I know.
And I'm
She's like, can I have them please?
Can I please have
I'm like,
them?
girl, that's such a concept.
I'm like, it's so beautiful, it's very comfortable, and I asked her because like you can rent the outfits.
Right.
So I'm like, is the USP that you could rent the bands and like the dress? She's like, no, the bands are also made from recycled fabric.
Wow.
That's what makes them special. I'm like, oh my god, like that's amazing.
Yeah, so now I will be selling and renting because I've had some focus groups. I've done some, which I'll be sharing content on that soon. And I have had more feedback about if it's such a special piece, like I want to invest.
Yeah.
And going back to your point about what's the price point, this is something that could be in the thousands because of what's gone behind the scenes. And I get this like advice from people and they're like, you're not going to make it. And I'm like, how come? Like, you have to be strong enough to handle these negative comments. You're just not going to do it. You're just not made for business. Why? Because I don't want to triple my pieces by 600%. They're like, yeah. Like literally that's why. I'm like, okay, we'll see. So it's your values, it's who you are, it's what you want to give. And I think right now these people say to me like, you need to stop saying that. I say, I'm just not hungry like for money. I'm not. I'm hungry for my passion.
Exactly.
I'm hungry to convert. Yes, absolutely. Do I want to sell them like a collection? Of course I do. Do I want to have constant like rentals coming through? Of course I do. I've got to live and pay bills and somehow make a profit. But to be given the advice of how much people are like telling me to like times that by what kind of like percentage, I'm like, okay, this is what's gonna make me different.
I love that. And you said that you started a company and people were like, you're not gonna make it. Like you've tried 2 times, for the 3rd time when you actually started something with a lot more intention behind it.
And I think this is why things happen for a reason.
Exactly.
Because the beginning one was just beautiful textiles and beautiful silks manufactured. Second time was a sports brand, which it never even made it to a platform. It was supposed to be called Oblique, and it never made it because I'm so glad. Again, I didn't have a strong USP back then. I was just gonna be like Gymshark. There was nothing special.
Yeah.
It's just another brand. It's just another Adidas. So when it came to this, I was in the shower, and you know these like crazy stories that you hear, like, oh my god, I got my vision in the shower. Guys, that's how it happens.
Same. I get that a lot as well.
I was in the shower, I was like, yes, deconstruct, girl. And the second time I was in the lift, I was like, rental, yes, rent. Oh my, yes, I have one of it. Makes it. This is how it happened.
But did it like become very scary because like I've tried to like do things and it not work? Is there like a fear behind like will I fail again, or like how will this pan out? Or were you very sure when this happened?
There is no assurance.
Yeah.
I've quit my job now.
Exactly, and
With the
that's
right
a very
experience.
vulnerable place to be in. So how do you deal with it?
I don't.
That's easy. I don't.
I've been in burnout and anxiety for 10 days.
Oh,
Absolutely. I've been in anxiety, I've been in burnout after the show, after the event, and
The London Fashion Week event.
yeah, which happened on the 20th of February. And I have to say, you think you're gonna come out with a dopamine. I came out and I was like crying.
yeah.
I was like,
It's too much.
you know what's funny? It's not funny. You know what's crazy? I got nothing but the best feedback on the day.
That's great.
So I've been in my head confused. Why am I so low?
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm low until this day.
But one thing
I
about-
think it is fear. I think it is fear because I had all this like, you know, like hype, and like the show was here and people are like, oh my god, it's great. And I'm a perfectionist, so I thought nothing was great that day. And when I walked off, I came across this like actor, I don't remember who it was, and he was saying about like when you go to like the big events and you get these like trophies, and I forgot the name, but that show where you get like Oscars.
Oscars.
When you go to the Oscars and like you're on this high dopamine, you go home and you just flick to the television, you're just having a drink, and you're like, oh, so this is it.
That happens.
So I had that, and I was so sad, guys. I was so sad that I have not gone back to my studio in 10 days.
Could it be though?
I shut down. I have fully shut down. You're the reason why I'm here today. This is my 11th day of
so
burnout.
honored.
Thank you. I have nothing to say, but thank you.
No, of course,
Yeah.
we're very, very happy that you could make it like very last minute.
Nothing has been getting me out of bed.
No, but one thing oddly about us, like when I met her at the studio before like we went to model, like she told me that she literally wants to do everything by herself. Like be it like her beading, like sewing, be it designing, be it like renting the space and like getting the paperwork done.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the burnout because like even like the modeling, like she was the one who was shooting us. So she did everything from A to Z for herself.
Yeah.
And I think it might be the catch-up of 7 days straight till midnight. One day I did like something crazy. Like I did like till midnight, and then I came home and I went straight back out and I did an all-nighter because the intern just dropped me. She just decided to not come in.
What?
Like 48 hours before the event, and I had to, you know, the Xeno suit, it's still not finished till this day because I'm like 11 days in burnout. So I think that was my shock. This is how it started. I was on such a high. The event was on a Tuesday. I was planning to do this like day where both interns coming 12 to 6 on a Saturday, and then I continue into the night. I get rest on Sunday and I leave myself with one day, which is the day before, to kind of like pack everything. I wake up on a high at 10 a.m. Both of them text me at the same time and they both are not gonna come in. And my heart just went on the floor. I text my mom like, what do I do? And mom was like, nothing. So I went and I was working till like 6 a.m. and I literally remember like catching the tube at 6 a.m. when like the tube
When the
would
tube
open.
starts,
And I went home and mom's like calling me like, you've got to come home. I'm like, she's like, you got to eat. Like mom's telling me about like the Lebanese dish she made, and my brother's coming down to London and we're gonna all hang out. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like I'm going back to the studio, and I literally went home, I slept for 4 hours and I did it again, and for the whole Sunday I was just working physically, not feeling anything, not mentally.
You're numb now, you're just like working,
Yeah.
just getting it done.
And I don't know if these girls are gonna ever get to this podcast, but that destroyed me. And when that destroyed me, I went to the show like in shock that it's my first show and it's not finished. And it couldn't be finished, like it literally couldn't be finished because I have a reel where I have these like 2 clips like on the back of my hair, and I remember I put like a headband and I was so stressed and I was like, forgot one thing, I gotta get content. And imagine I was in that like feeling and I'm like, gotta do content. And I remember putting the tripod behind me. I'm like, we're just gonna film. And I filmed, and after the show, I posted that, and I was like, girl, this is not gonna work, is it? And it has been 10 years like this, constantly thinking you're not gonna make it. And I was like, I literally sent my friend the other day, he's my best friend, and I was like, so is it true that we should fake it till we make it? And he was like, no, you're not faking anything, you're just like hustling, and you know.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in a position where I've learned that when things don't work out, they happen for a reason.
Yeah.
When the girls didn't come in, I had all the hope in the world in the girls. They're lovely girls, you know, lovely souls. But what you need to learn is no matter how hard it hits you, you just gotta keep on, because something happened in order for them to not come in that day that protected me. And I met this girl, I love her so much, her name is Tanya. And one day I was so close, I did so many things that week, and I couldn't come into work, and then I missed the flight, and I just couldn't make it into work on a Saturday. And I came in, I was so stressed, and I was like, I'm gonna get fired. She was like, listen, if you get fired, then that's supposed to happen. And ever since, this girl's comment, it was just one sentence, and that's why I said to you earlier, like it takes one sentence sometimes that you might flick through on Instagram and hear someone say something for 10 seconds that will completely change your mind. So on that day, I thought to myself, if Tanya was here, she would tell you God protected you to not send you those girls that day, because you just don't know what would have happened. And unfortunately, it's hard, it's challenging, you have fear, you question, you doubt. Being in that burnout wasn't just physical, it was mental.
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself, I'm just gonna try to go to the gym and just get on the treadmill. And then you called me in the emergency room, and I'm like, Malika, maybe she called me by accident. But let me pick up, maybe the girl needs something. And I literally just went to like the corridor in the hospital. It's like, you okay? And I was like,
she was really worried.
I'm like, oh my god, like, is this a payment? Like, did I not send her a payment when she modeled? Like, I need to check. And I swear to God, like, this is what I felt like. Maybe the payment didn't go through, and you're like, is it okay? Like, if you send me the money. And I was like, oh my God, it's my dream. So what I've learned is I have tested for so long if this is what I really wanted, and it is.
It is.
And now I think I was on a call like in the morning, and this like professional like marketing guy, and he was saying like, whoa, you've just come out of all of this, and the fact that you're on a call with me, that says enough. That says you want it so bad that you didn't cancel on me because you're burnout. You literally got on the call, and it was like 8 a.m. in the morning, like with my glasses and like my hair up. And he was like, listen, the fact that you're here after what you just explained to me, 7 days for 5 months, every single day, girl, how are you surprised that you're on burnout? So now I've learned your health, you have to take care of yourself, work with the whole like fear, doubting yourself, and whether you're gonna make it or not. Because when that's in control, like when you have your little package like all controlled, you can rewind, and it's okay to take it out. I didn't take it out. I didn't take anything out of like 5 months.
But that's the gist of being a business owner, I would have to say. Right?
Absolutely.
Like starting your own brand, starting your own business. It's always constant. Like you're gonna have feelings of self-doubt. You're gonna have feelings of like
until you make it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and even when you make it, you're gonna think, okay,
something bigger.
It might get
go down.
Yeah, it might go crash or like what's the next thing now? You know, what's the next big thing?
At the same time, like, do you guys believe in delegation? Because you said that you've been working 7 days a week for 5+ months, and then now you're in burnout, and you just had interns, and then those don't even show up at the meantime. Like, do you think there's anything you would have done differently?
Absolutely not.
No. You would have not delegated any part of your job that you did?
Absolutely not. The way I was in passion, I cannot express to you. Like, you can't buy that.
Of course not.
Like, the way I'd wake up, like, guys, I opened my studio like on the 27th of December. Like, this is why. Because I was so excited. I was furnishing, changing the floors. Like, oh my god, I have interns. Like, oh my god, I had to like.
I have an office now.
I had to fire someone. Like, it was the most hard, like, breaking, scariest, like, you know. So I think this is what the 5 months did. The 5 months gave me this like idea of how it's about to be, And now, like I just said to you, like now I know I have to take a day out. The fact that I've quit my job, the first rule I implemented is some days there for yourself. It's gonna end the week, give you a break, and then you're gonna start the week. So the plan is to do 6 days. Yes, it's a lot, but when that 1 day break is in and you've gone to the sauna, you sat and you've looked over the week, you're making the new plans for the week. It's going to be a lot better now.
Yeah, I think this encompasses a very good like conclusion of time management. Like being a business owner, right? It's not all about
Work.
It's not all about work. Yeah, you really need to set aside time for yourself, your family. You know, it's all about that balance. You know, we talked about balance in one of our previous episodes as well, right? The side hustle culture is real, and you know we do glorify that a lot on Instagram. But you know, we've seen like you know, you worked so hard for the past 5 months. That is dedication. That is a very big inspiration to many. Not a lot of people can pull that off, right? But at the end of the day, you're dealt with all this burnout. You can't even leave your house.
Yeah, like, this is not worth it. Yeah. You know, when I was coming today, I was like, how do I feel? I feel like I've been hit by a bus. I was like all dressed up. Like I literally like, I'm gonna put makeup on for the first day.
So many days.
Like, you know, like blow drying your hair. And I'm like, oh my God, I may look presentable, but I feel like I've been hit by a bus, like physically.
Yeah.
Like smashed.
I think that's the first step. I think whenever we feel low and like we've been in bed for like 10 days, the day we put makeup, we're like, okay, this is getting better. This is the first time we're feeling better. We have put
I
makeup
took a walk
on.
today and I bought coffee and I was like, great. And then I knew I was gonna come and see you. So I knew I have to go home and get ready. And the thought of getting ready was so tiring. So I'm hoping that now that I've made it here today, everything's gonna be okay tomorrow.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you learn from this. And these things are not taught in school, they're not taught on like a course that you pay for. You're only gonna know what works for you as an entrepreneur is by going through it. Like my friend was saying to me like, take a break. I didn't listen. And now I have to listen.
Of course.
Because my body has showed it to me.
Yeah.
So now the whole Sunday rule just, you know, got into place, and I think that's going to be a much better plan.
Have your relationship suffered during those 5 months when you basically worked 12, 14, 15 hours a day?
Yeah, I sat with my brother yesterday for the first time, and we sat in the emergency room, and I realized, wow, we just actually spent time together. It took the emergency room for me to feel like I'm sitting with him.
Despite angrily.
Oh, I was angry. He played football foolishly. So yeah, something that I really try hard with is working on that. And I think sadly, sometimes you give the wrong time
To the wrong people.
to the wrong people. So I would give like my after studio time to someone who I didn't think it was that important, but I'm trying to make them happy, and that's a whole topic, guys. That's a whole topic. People pleasing is another topic.
Oh, we actually covered that. We covered
That's a good finale.
no,
Yeah.
we did cover that a little bit.
Yeah.
So that period of 5 months also showed me some people don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
Because you get so busy that you forget. And I'm one of those friends that's always planning stuff. And then suddenly I had to stop when I opened the studio. And then you're like, oh my
No
God.
one's planning anything.
I ask you out for drinks all the time. Where have you been? Because now I'm suddenly busy. So it also like shows you something completely different to what you thought.
But doesn't it get lonely then? Because like when you work with someone, for example, like when we work together, like I'm like, I have someone I can like chat with in the midst of us working, and just feels like a very fun thing we do while we provide value.
Yeah.
When I work by myself, and like when you work by yourself, it's just like it's exhausting.
It's very
Because
solo.
It's very solo, and it's like I feel lonely.
So my soul is dead. You can yeah. Other than like dating, which is God, and just don't do it like that. Yeah. Your soul is dead.
Have you ever like thought about having a co-founder or like someone to help you?
I've been through that in my old brand.
With the sports one.
I did. The main one with the fashion silk one.
Okay.
He's a great guy. You know, shout out to Zaf if he's ever on the call. Helped me in absolutely everything. But if you clash as personalities, especially when you're male and female, being involved in expertise that you may not have, because when this person came on board, it was like more of an investment, suddenly became co-founder. Unfortunately, if you don't have the skills for design, then you start to clash. So for me, I don't want one. that taught me to not have one now. What I do want is a successful team that hopefully I can build one day.
Yeah.
I was just on a call with a videographer last night, and he was telling me his journey with his best friend and how they founded their company. So it does work for people, but for me, it has taught me that I don't want that for myself.
And now you know, you've tested it, now you know it's not for you.
And do you remember I was saying to you, like, I moved away from it, I tested it, I gave it 2 years. Do I really want to start a brand again? And I became a stylist and I went to explore. I think it's really, really important to test.
Yeah.
When you test these things, you know. Jumping into having an investor was the scariest thing I could ever do.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I know later on when you can go on like Dragon's Den and these things, that's very different on a bigger scale. But I would say right now is probably not the same.
I think people glamorize, like whenever somebody has a startup, they glamorize the idea of getting investment so much. Oh my god, I raised like 2.5 million in funding yesterday or like XYZ. But I do not know if they really want funding for that startup yet, not like what it comes with.
I think all they see is the dollar signs, of course, like at the beginning, right? Because, you know, it's definitely not easy having a startup by yourself and having all the costs and bearing all the costs by yourself initially. But I think at the end of the day, like, you know, like you said, right, having an investor means that investor plays a part in the decision making as well.
Absolutely.
And like
So,
you do need to test the waters.
For the last brand, I was offered 50,000,
Okay.
and that was the reason why I closed it, because I realized I'm not ready.
So
And
you
then
sold the company for 50,000 pounds.
So I needed that investment, and I was given,
Oh, okay.
and I had to say yes. And then I was like, I'm shitting myself.
Because
And I
they
closed
respond.
it. And then guess what, guys? 6 months later, COVID came. I was lucky.
Good choice.
Yeah. And then, you know, the journey of going to explore and become a stylist, that happened 2 years later. Like I mentioned to you, I kind of like miss being the designer. I was like, okay, now I know. Now if I need investment for the future, being, you know, calculating and being in the position again, I know I don't need to be scared, because it is the thing I want to do for life. So when you are going through it, please, I think best advice I can give is don't be afraid about your age. I had this thing where I'm just constantly worried about my age.
Yeah.
I was like 26 back then. That was like, you were only 26. Now I say you're only 26. Back then I'm like, oh my god,
26, I know.
do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But thank God I had tested, because that brand was never going to succeed because I was like everyone else. But now I have a strong USP, I'm rental, I have all these specific things about the brand that make me different.
Yeah. But what other, you know, like you talked about, you know, the challenges of having an investor, co-founder, you know, having, you know, not enough time, you know, time management for yourself, your interns even fell out, you know, all these struggles of, you know, just simple day-to-day of a founder, right? That can happen. But apart from that, have you ever faced any challenges, like, you know, as a woman of a certain religion, like have you ever faced challenges towards that aspects when you were founding your own company?
Yeah, so I'm Lebanese Palestinian Muslim, and to say that is really heavy.
Yeah.
I look up to really, really strong women in the fashion field, in the acting field, in the influencer field right now. There's so many great ones that really like empower me. I watch their journey, I'm like, you know what? It's so beautiful to see that that's possible. So looking back, that was one of the most challenging things you ever had to go through, because you're supposed to be married. Where's the family that you're raising? Where's the husband? I don't have a husband today. I don't even have a boyfriend, guys.
Not at the age that you should be having for your religion.
Yeah, because being born in Lebanon and looking around me, I think when I left I was like 11. So by 21, usually you've started the family, you're married, you've got your first child on the way.
Really? Until now?
Let me tell you something. All my friends are in the process of divorce right now. Yeah, and that's
After having kids and
and
stuff.
that's heavy.
That is heavy.
That's very heavy.
Yeah.
So I was really struggling with the idea of, I'm not married, something is wrong. It's not working. Is it the city? Shall I move? But you're trying to build something here right now. Like London is where you need to be. And then I'm having all these conversations with my friends, whether they're in Lebanon, not Lebanon, Canada, France. I can call out so many cities. And to be told that, you have a moment of like, thank God. Because I was just gonna be there. So what I've learned is when we are in that chapter of our life, your early 20s to your late 20s, you're just trying to figure things out. But it gets so glamorized, as you mentioned, that it's all about the one.
Yeah.
It's very Disney.
Yeah.
You know? And then you realize, wow, 10 years later, guys, you just don't know who you want to be in your 20s. And then you get to your 30s, you're like, oh my god, these are the real age. Like, this is the real age where I'm actually finding out only now where I want to be. So you end up having these like life changes. You've had kids. Your character is totally different. You're someone else. We change every year. So imagine 5 and 10 and 15. To then realize your partner may not have developed, doesn't want to change. He's in the same mindset. He may not even want to leave, but you want to leave the country. Like, it gets to those kind of topics where you're like, shit, I got married way too young. So I have this like relief feeling, but then at the same time, it is scary.
Yeah.
So as I was mentioning to you earlier, right now it feels like I'm not the cake yet. I'm still in the ingredient stage.
Yeah.
So how are you supposed to find someone when you're in the ingredient stage? You're not.
You're not made yet, you're not developed.
You're not made yet. It's gonna take what, 5-10 years to build Moustadaam? But then what, am I expected to be a wife and have children, and maybe it will work, maybe it will not work. So what I have really struggled with is accepting this. But when I really accepted this was like last week.
Really? And
It
what
burned.
got you that burnout?
Because you don't stop trying. And then you're like, there's a power. There's a high power up there saying to you, no matter how good the guy is, it's not working out. There must be an even deeper meaning to what's going on with you right now. And I'm like, successful woman, entrepreneur, look how lonely it is, look how difficult it is, look how many hours you're putting in the studio. You've just opened your studio. How's it gonna make any sense that you get married in the next year? It doesn't.
But do you believe in having successful business while having a successful relationship?
I can't answer to that because I'm not in the stage of being married, running a studio.
It doesn't have to be married though, but like, you know, in
Having
the dating,
a partner,
yeah, having a
relationship,
partner is
like, do you
important.
It depends on who the guy is.
Right.
Is he an entrepreneur? Does he understand? I have a best friend who's like my brother.
Right.
He's a boy version of me. He's younger than me, but he's a boy version of me. He constantly keeps saying to me, stop dating. Stop dating. Girl, you need to listen, stop dating. And I don't listen. And I think now I have finally listened because it's him, it's my sister, it's people who are in business that are saying to me, what you're trying to build, you basically need to build, secure the first few stages, see the money, and then you can focus on the rest.
Yeah.
But because of the pressure of where you come from, the culture, the background, the religion, etc., and I'm a Libra, so I think I can have it all. My mom says to me, you cannot have it all. I'm like, I'm gonna show you. And
One day.
hopefully one day, but I think it depends on what you're prioritizing right now and where it has taken so long to get to where I am today. And I think that's about 12 years when you're still trying to make it, and now you're like 2 steps in and you need that to be 5 and 6 and 7. What I realized, we are women and we are very emotional, and that has been the biggest challenge for me. I always get told, put the emotions to the side.
Oh, that's all me all
That
the
is
time.
everyone has been told that.
Yeah.
Don't think
But I
about
had to go through the toughest things I have ever seen in 2023 to make me realize, put the emotions to the side.
So, sometimes
And
you
if they
really
didn't
is-
happen,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have listened. And it took
Exactly.
extreme things where I would cry day and night for 6 months. Why, God? Why is this happening? And I've learned not why it's happening. What is it trying to teach you?
Thank God it's
To put the
happening.
emotions to the side. Yeah, so you have to wake up and you have no choice but to get the day. Like I was saying to you, I'm a burnout. Nothing got me out today. You got me out today. Back then, nothing was getting me out. Yeah.
It's amazing. Like honestly, the journey that you've been on, it's
And it's still a journey. I think that's
Yeah.
why I love it so much and I appreciate it so much.
yeah.
Because there's so much that has happened before that has not stopped you. And you realize there's so much you want to do and you will do ahead. And you just want to just keep going until you achieve that.
Yeah. So when I started to think about university, coming from the culture I'm from, you're supposed to go and study the doctor and this and that. And I was about to go into dentistry. And I knew that wasn't for me. So every time I have the fear, it's like, should I have been a dentist and I'm at a great pay? I'm like, no, you would not have been happy. And that is my security that I'm on the right path. Because for me to be in people's mouths, I wasn't going to do anything else. Like, it wasn't going to be law, or it wasn't going to be economics. It wasn't going to be anything. It was going to be either a doctor or a dentist. And both of them give me a heart attack. If you like take me to a dentist today, I'm like, gosh, it stinks and the vibe is awful. I'm like, 60K plus for this? No.
Yeah.
No. I'll just hustle until it happens.
Yeah, I think we've had a few entrepreneurs and guests who have started their own companies as well. But I think it's the first time we actually heard how the daily struggles, how real it gets. Yeah, the daily struggles.
The first thing I have to do in the morning is put on a motivational thing on YouTube, because I can't
do you do that?
I can't do it otherwise.
Yeah.
I know some people pray, some people sit there and manifest, some people sit there and do so many different things. I have to have a voice speaking to me saying, you can do it.
I should learn from her.
So during heartbreaks, like, I'll lose the guy, or like something would not work, or I'll go to work and be like, I fucking hate my job. And I'll be like, right, it's time.
Let me listen to this. You got this, girl.
Guys, that's the only thing that gets me through. Like, my brother will speak to me, my best friend will speak to me, my sister will speak to me, drilling all these amazing things about me.
Yeah.
You just don't feel them.
Yeah.
And then when you listen to the guy who's shouting on you,
yesterday, I got out of bed after 3 hours when I heard a girl scream at me.
Yeah.
And be like, being lazy is a privilege. Get out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get out.
I'm like laying on the gym floor, like, tears. You can do it! Right, you're gonna listen to him. You have to listen to him because you're not a dentist and you're not making that money, so you've got to make that money from your passion.
Yeah.
And honestly, guys, it sounds pathetic, but a stranger is what gets me through. Other podcasts have gotten me through, being, like, whether it's the host or the guest, that has gotten me through. And just not wanting to go to work for someone else is what gets me through every single day. Going to those brands used to kill my soul. Standing on my feet all day is just the worst thing you can do for me. And I thought to myself, maybe it's the industry.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go and be like working in a oh my god, that would be so much worse. I tried to be a sports designer when I first graduated, and it was in Wales. Being in front of the screen didn't work. Being in a shop didn't work. People say to me, like, do you want to open a Moustadaam store? I'm like, no. Absolutely not. So even my store, guys, it's just like anxiety just being in a store. I think maybe it's like trauma that I've been in stores for so long.
Yeah.
But
they're like, we'll put you in like Dior. I'm like, no. They're like, okay, what about this? What about like management? Oh my god.
no. But you've tried and tested multiple things, so now you know that it is not for you.
Styling, modeling, designing.
And going to stores, and now you know that you don't want to like have the same thing for your own personal brand.
It's all about trial and error. With businesses, it's trial and error, and then you pivot to what's right at the end of the day after all these things.
What is I think a lot of people in their 20s like this are so scared of like trying the like untaken path or like trying 10 things, because people might be like, you're not really doing anything, you're not sure what you want to do.
Yeah.
But they're actually progressing and understanding who they are first before they can take the step of who they want to be in the future.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about like climbing the ladder and being somewhere, I know I can earn good one day. I think it's like being controlled that I hate. Like people say to you in the office, like it's 9 to 5, whatever. I do 12 hours in the studio and I'm totally fine. So it's not the fact that it's 9 to 5. It's not a timing thing. It's the fact that I'm controlled by someone. And one thing I was like wondering the other day, who created 9 to 6? And I'm like, oh my god, I have to like research this because it's such an exciting topic. So maybe you could do like one day like on your show too. Who started this? Where did this 9 to 6 come from? Where did this Monday to Friday that you do 5 days?
Yeah,
it turns out to be like in return for when you go off and become 60 and now it's like 74 or something crazy. It's like your reward for doing it. And now you have girls and guys like doing TikTok and earning 20K a month. Like it makes me feel sick.
It hurts a lot of people when they are behind that screen now. So like
it makes me feel sick.
And they spend 2 hours a week.
Like the old generation used to like bust their asses like doing all this like hours of physical work to hardly earn anything, and now you've got this like guy who puts a wig on TikTok.
No, but at the same time, like I beg to differ only because like I think I was like, oh my god, like this make a TikTok, it's so easy. I tried making a reel like I think a year ago for the first time, and I'm like, okay, like it took me 3 hours to like put out a 15-second content out there. I'm like, this is not easy.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
even like being shameless and just putting yourself out there, not knowing, understanding how people would
What's
react
gonna
to you.
happen?
I think it's just so easy to like be like, oh, those TikTokers made like 200,000 a year, while somebody made like 50K in an office job.
Yeah.
But that office job might be a lot more easier for that person to do than like
Exactly.
be on TikTok.
Yeah.
With a 9 to 5, it's like you don't think you just go in, you log
And
on.
you told
do your
what to
job.
do. With TikTok, it's a
Exactly.
lot more. Like, I'm not gonna promote TikTok here.
Yeah.
But, like, we all get the point.
No, absolutely,
Podcast, right?
absolutely. I agree. Like, I follow this guy, and he's hilarious, and he like mimics like girls in a relationship and how it's like toxic and stuff. And he posts 3 times a day,
Imagine.
and he has to get so creative with these ideas. I'm like, how's this guy doing it? Like, it's 3 videos a day, and like you said, it may look like 15 seconds,
Yeah.
but the amount of
Work.
I know that because of the way I film myself in
Yeah.
the studio, and that's just like a starting point. Later on, I'm hoping to have like a lot more interesting content, and I'm like, whoa, like it takes time
Yeah.
for you to dress up and be the part and bring that positivity. Who wants to watch a dead negative video?
Yeah.
No one.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
That's wow. But I mean, like, you know, we've talked a lot about your journey, about your struggles in the business, the day to day. It's honestly, it's so raw today. I love it. It's so
It is,
raw,
yeah.
and
It's
I
very
think
raw.
we're nearing the end of our podcast for today. But probably we want to end with 2 questions.
Mhm.
I think the first one can come across pretty direct, and you know, you came a long way. Would you consider yourself successful at this point?
I think with challenges
Yeah.
and breaking through and deciding to wake up and you're going to do it anyway, I would say yes. I don't think it's about the money.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about that balance or how much you have. I've had money coming in and I've had money going out. To know that I could have all of that and not be the face of this brand, and I've built it, and just be in a job, I would think I'm not successful in that position. Where right now, to be striving towards that and know that there's nothing in the world that's going to make you give up, I think that's success.
That's amazing. I think you encompass it very well. You know, success is not quantified by money, you know, all the time. Yeah, a lot of people has this version of success that, you know, success is a certain lifestyle which requires a certain amount of money to sustain, but sometimes it's just about being happy, doing what you want, reaching that level of passion that you're doing for yourself.
I'm just being very proud of how far you've come as well, and having faith that you will reach there and bigger places
Exactly.
by doing what you do.
I think the success that I feel personally on that journey is the fact that I've been able to quit my job. Like you said, waking up in the morning knowing I'm free.
Yeah.
I think each person had their own version of success, and for me it would be freedom.
Exactly.
To be able to wake up today and go and do what I want, book that flight, see that model, create that content, I think that's success.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I love that as well. Well, to my second question as well then. We ask this with every one of our guests, and I would say, you know, just before you leave, you know, just before we end this podcast, if you could give one advice, right, to people in their 20s right now, you know, our audiences, or even anyone who's listening who's feeling lost, uncertain, you know, who wants to create a successful life for themselves, what is that one advice you would give them?
When you put those headphones on and you're listening to that music and you're walking, because that's what happened during my whole life, what you envision, that's what you're supposed to do. Because I would walk down the station, there's like an 11 minutes walk between my house to the train station, and before Fashion Week I didn't think manifestation was a thing. In my religion, I don't need to manifest because we can already do that through religion. So on the lost days, on the happy days, on the days of having so much money in my bank account, comparing to the days where I was totally broke, that journey that I do to the station with my headphones, I envision my future. And I think that can be so many different things to people. That could be manifestation, that could be you're picturing the future, that could be feeling what you need to do or where you're going to be. But it doesn't matter what it is to you. You've just got to follow the vision, and you're always going to vision it. Whether you're sleeping, like I said to you, in the shower, you might just have those moments. You've got to follow that. And if you can make money from that, you don't need to go to work for anyone else. That would be your future.
I love that because we've been speaking about the same thing throughout our episode season 2. And a lot of people have just said that we have so many ideas every single day. Not a lot of people act on those ideas.
Yeah.
So it's what you said about like if you are thinking about something while you have music on, like it's like randomly, you gotta act on those ideas because that's basically what you're manifesting.
Because we daydream.
subconsciously.
Like I never thought it's a thing. And I'm like, I'm always on a catwalk in my daydream. I am always on a catwalk. And I say to my sister, you've got to break through and go past what your parents are telling you. Being forced into dentistry, thank God I didn't follow that, you know, or being forced to be a doctor when you're a son to a family that could be whatever religion or whatever culture. I think that's what's heartbreaking. There are people in their 30s and the 40s and the 50s in jobs that they hate. They've started families and they are just so unhappy, and I see it in my own friendships. And it leads to divorce. So on that journey of 20s, go and discover, go and travel. Be broke and travel. Book that Ryanair, £50 flight. And go to the beach and go to Barcelona, go to these places, go to Thailand and backpack and whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
And the last thing, please, is don't think about committing to someone in the 20s. It's the worst thing you can do. So that vision that's going to come along the experiences you're going through, exploring what you love. Like for me, I knew it was fashion, but God knows what fashion it was going to end up in. Like, it could have been anything. I could be like a successful model right now, but it's not what happened. So how me and you were talking, like, you said to me, I'm going to Dubai, and kind of want to do content, kind of don't. Explore. Explore. And before you go to bed, or when you're walking to the station, or when you're waiting that 5 minutes before meeting your friend, what is making you think and what are you envisioning? That vision is what you need for your future. And I think when you have so much passion for something, I've always said, any business is going to be hard, but starting a business for the sake of making money is an absolute no-no. The way I was doing 12 hours a day, I would be falling asleep on Zoom, and I'm like, you got this, because I love it so much. But when you're forced to do something for the money, it's it's going to get hard with the passion and without. So let it be a hardship with the passion. It's going to get you through.
I'm getting so motivated right now, like start something that I've been wanting to start.
It's right up your
Just wait for the vision.
Wait for the vision. Wait for the bathroom moment.
And you know, when I look back, the vision was with my Barbie dolls, and I was playing when I was a kid on my balcony that I still see until today. And that was almost 24 years ago.
What vision was?
It was just me cutting like fabrics.
And
it was
Barbie
like
dolls.
it was like Ramadan time, like
Oh, that's so sweet.
our neighbors were coming over with her and her son, and I remember my mom like, Assil, come, and I was just cutting fabrics, and I still visioned them. And it was little tiny pieces that were orange, and that's one of my favorite colors, and I was just sticking this stuff on the Barbie. And guys, it gives you goosebumps when you put one and one together. It gives you goosebumps, and you're like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And when I get sad about this whole like marriage thing, and you know, my mom like being like worried for me, which is only normal, I'm like, listen, talking to myself, you're on the right path. It's gonna come when it's the right timing. And it takes so long for you to believe that, because you're like trying to make an effort. Now I'm like, I'm chill.
And who decides the timelines anyway, you know? Like, I do not know who's talked about being married at 27 and having a kid by 30. Like,
we all have a plan though. Like, I have a friend who was obsessed with it, and it came. She's pregnant with her second, and I'm like, are you happy? No.
Yeah, who decides these things?
I mean, to be fair, to contrast that a little bit, I do, you know, like your comment of like, don't commit to anyone within your 20s, right? It can come across as a very direct comment, right? To some people.
But it's real. It is real. And you're
it
only
depends
gonna
on
know.
people to people.
You're
It
only gonna
depends.
know it's real when you hit 30s, because you're like, oh my god, I'm in a whole different chapter. You wait. Honestly, something about losing the 20 by the end of 26, 27, 28. There's something about 30, 31 that makes you feel like I'm a real adult. And for you to be so like sure about a family and children in the 20s is so dangerous.
Yeah,
I just feel like it all comes down to being financially independent.
of course.
If you're financially independent at any age, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's all
of
it
course,
boils down
because
to.
we look back at cultures and we look and see that the woman kind of goes off and starts the family, right? And she's like the wife and she's having the kids and she's in the kitchen and she's raising. But now with this different sort of idea of living, now you build you have the income, you've sorted yourself out, and then whatever man is going to come, if he leaves you, you're going to be fine.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You just need to get
It's
over the
about standing
heartbreak.
on your own 2 feet.
Where
first.
before, that never happened in my culture, and whether it's Christianity or Islam or whatever religion, that was never the case. And it doesn't matter what culture you came from. For the woman, it was like that. But now we want businesses,
Yeah.
we want success, and that's why I was saying to you about the cake and the ingredients. If you're not the cake just yet, please just.
Don't sell the ingredients,
Yes.
just back.
Yeah.
Sell the entire.
I'm not saying don't meet people.
Mm.
Meet people and see
Explore.
where it takes you,
Yeah.
but make sure, like you mentioned, make sure you're okay independently
Yeah.
by yourself.
Yeah.
If you have an experience, which we're all gonna do, we're gonna have them until we figure out what we really want. It's not gonna just come like that. And then when you have that experience and you share it, if it comes to an end, you're gonna be absolutely fine.
I think that
That
wraps
wraps
it
it
up.
up pretty well.
Exactly. I was just about to say that wraps it up perfectly.
Yeah, I think I'm just very motivated right now. Like just like wait for that thought to come in. When it comes, I'm like, I'm gonna act on it right now.
Yeah. No, I think not a lot of people realize how hard it is to really start your own business. You know, it is. People look at the final outcome, the final product. Like, for example, your models walking down the catwalk with your
At London Fashion Week.
exactly, or like for us when this finished episode comes out, you know, on the Thursday, people don't see the work that goes behind it. You know what happens behind
Somebody
the scenes.
dropping in last minute, you having to like not have one
Yeah,
dress that
that's
you wanted
Saturday,
to be
they
on
are
the
told-
showcase.
Yeah,
It's a lot to take in, especially when you've given everything on that thing,
yeah,
your entire life.
exactly.
So it does give you thick skin, and I think that's what you need in business, and to be honest, like everything else as well,
I think it
in
really
life in
does.
general.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Well,
I think we all learned a lot. Got motivated and scared at the same
I know,
time.
same thing.
It's scary for sure.
You know, like talking about her business made me think about our podcast. I've got a lot to do.
No, but onwards and upwards.
Exactly.
We fail, we learn, we fail fast, we fail forward, and we move on. So that was
Episode 7, Season 2. And we've wrapped up our 7 guests, Assil, and
thank you so much
Yeah.
for being on here. We learned so much. I think a lot of people thought like they got really inspired by you, and they got the raw story of what it is to start a company as a woman in London, in a big city, coming from a place that you do.
especially in the field of fashion as well, which is not
Demanding,
yeah.
competitive.
It's not easy. Yeah. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you as well.
Yeah,
That was really fun. Just like how I pictured it, but like probably a bit better. Like you forget there's a camera rolling.
It does.
So that's what I love the most. That it's pure and it's real,
It does.
and there's nothing fake about it. And I think that's kind of what I mentioned earlier. Like images on Instagram are edited and they are photoshopped and they are airbrushed and all these things. But I just love what podcasts can do. Thank you
That's
so much.
really
for having me.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, so this wraps up Season 2, Episode 7. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
All the
at
good
the
things.
Yeah, all the good things. the
It was a
close.
very inspiring, motivating episode. Just type in 3 girls.
Mhm.
We have something more exciting coming up in the next episode as well. So please stay tuned. But thank you so much for tuning in so far. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Much love. Bye.